Hello there, all my lovely jewelry makers. I'm Christina of CSLdesigns, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make these cute star links that you can use in many different ways, whether that's for earrings, pendants, or even a chain. So if you want to learn how to make them, then keep watching. So the wire that I'm using is a regular round silver coated copper wire, and the first gauge is a 0.8mm, and then I'm using a 0.3mm. This will be the weaving wire. Then the tools we'll need is first of all our flush cutter so we can cut our wire. I've got some chain nose pliers to help manipulate the wire, and finally 6-step bell making pliers to help make consistent loops. Now you can always check out the description box for the material list and useful links. Otherwise, let's get it all ready and let's get started. Then the length of wires we'll need to make one link is first of all about 20 centimeters of a 0.8mm, and this is the base wire, and then about 50 centimeters of a 0.3mm for the weaving wire. Then we need to start out making the stars. So I'm taking my length of 0.8mm first of all, and then also my chain nose pliers. Now I'm going to use the pliers themselves here to help make the star consistent all the way around, because obviously we want it to be as symmetrical as possible. So basically the size of, or rather the width of these pliers will determine the size of the star. What I'm going to do is place them towards one end, but make sure I leave a little bit of a tail so we can use that to make a loop at the end. That little tail, I'm just going to put a slight bend into it, and then on the bottom here, the longer end, I'm going to put a bend into that as well in the same direction, so both kind of bending upwards. But in this case I want to push it further, and then I always like to just go on the other side of the bend and just squeeze with my pliers, which will sharpen up the bend a bit. Now we don't want a fully 90-degree angle here, but something a bit like this. Then I'm going to go right on the other side of that bend and literally up against it where the pliers won't go any further, grab onto there, and then bend this long length of wire now in the opposite direction, so kind of downwards here. And this is going to be our very first point in the star. And again, I like to just go to the other side of that bend and just squeeze on the wire. That'll help make the bend sharper. And again, this one now is further than 90 degrees, so it's a tighter angle. And then when you're happy with that, it's going to be the first point. I then want to place my pliers again up against that bend where it won't go any further on the other side of it, and then bend the wire back in the opposite direction. So we kind of keep zigzagging the direction that we're bending the wire in. But now where I want to place this is basically so it lines up with the length on the other side of the point, so we almost create a straight line and we just have that point in the star in between it. And that is also what I'm going to keep doing to help make the star as symmetrical as possible as I continue. So make that angle just so we basically get a straight line across there, and then go on the other side of that bend, make the next point by pushing the wire against the pliers, go on the other side, tighten it up, and then place your pliers on the other side of the bend right up against it, and then bend the wire back outward. And in this case here, now I'm going to make a straight line from the wire just before this point here, which is technically part of the first point, but I'm going to constantly compare the wires on the opposite sides of the point that I just made and make sure it's a straight line. And if it's not, you can adjust it before moving on to the next one. Then for the next point, same thing, bend it back inwards, create that angle which creates the next point, tighten it up, and then bend the wire back outward, where we then need to create that straight line again, straight from the wire on the opposite side of this point here. And you just want to keep doing this until we have 5 points all the way and we have a complete star. So now I have all 5 points there, bearing in mind that the last point is going to be created once we bring the wire back up. But then what I want to do is place my pliers again on this final length after the last bend we made, and then I want to take the long length here and then bend it first of all behind the other wire and then out towards the side. Then I'm going to bring in my weaving wire that we cut ready, and we need to start weaving now and create a circle around the star with the remaining length of the base wire, and I'm going to do that as I go. So first of all, I just want to attach this weaving wire to the base wire. Just wrap it around a few times, make sure your wraps are nice and tight, and then we can just start pushing it down the wire to sit basically where the wires overlap each other. So that's going to be the beginning of our weaving wire here. Keep hold of that, and then now I just want to weave until I'm going to meet up with that very first point, and I then want to start to bring the wire around so it's actually going to meet up. So create a bit of a curve in it, because obviously we need to make a circle. So just create a nice rounded shape coming down towards that first point until you have what's going to look like part of a circle. And you can see that the wraps that I'm doing are almost meeting up with that first point, but I just want to get all the way there, because then what I want to do is grab onto the star by going down through it and then just catching that point and then come back up between them. So basically we're going between the two wires with a figure of 8 weave, and then just go straight back out to the outer wire here and keep wrapping around that. Now again, we then want to keep coiling here until we meet up with the next point. And once you've done a few wraps there, start to bring it down towards that next point, making sure that we have a curve in it. So we continue that circle shape until the wire meets up with the point, and then you can see if you need to add a few more wraps, which I do. So just add the wraps until we reach that next point, and then the same thing, we just want to go through the star to then grip onto that point. We connect the frame that we're doing with the star itself, go through that, and then come up between, and then go straight back out and continue the wraps and the circle. And you just want to keep doing this. Obviously make your way to the next point and the next one after that until we make it all the way back up to the top. So now I made it all the way back up with both the base wire and the weaving wire, and we have the star and our full circle. Then I can get rid of my weaving wires here, so the ends I've got left. So just cut them down and then take your pliers to flatten that end in, because we want to make sure it's not going to stick out and catch or scratch on anything, and then just flatten it down and roll it in the direction that the wrap is going, and finish off the other one in the same way. Then I want to fasten this length here that we've been working with around the other one, so I'm just going to hold on to everything and then start wrapping it around all the way till it meets back up with itself. Just make sure, check that everything is still in place. Then I'm going to cut off the excess. And then again, take your pliers and then make sure to tighten this around the wire. And basically the end of it is meeting up with the side of itself. And then we've finished off the wire and we have the star and full circle. All that's left to do is create a loop here at the top. So we can obviously attach it to something. So I'm just going to push this wire forward. Then I take my 6-step bell making pliers. You can use round nose pliers if you don't have them. And then place them where the bend is and push the wire all the way around the pliers back on itself to create a full circle. I'm just going to go and cut off the excess, and then we can close it up and we have an open loop here. Now you can do a wrap loop if you prefer, but with the open loop here you can obviously open it up like a jump ring and then attach it to whatever you want to, and then you have your final link. And if you want to attach multiple of them together, obviously make a few links, open up the loop here at the top, then you can put it through another link by feeding it through in between the bottom 2 points so it'll hang in the middle. And then of course we just need to close up the loop again, and then we're basically creating a chain of stars. And what would also be really cute is if you maybe make them different sizes and then have a large one, a medium one, and a small one, put them together and have that as an earring. So there's just an idea, but otherwise you can use these links for whatever you want to. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Now if you like stars, I've created a playlist full of tutorials with different star themed designs. I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.